to News at 9. I'm Devere Dudley.
And I'm Natalie DeFord. Here's a look at our top stories.
We get a preview of LollaPLUza.
PLU in Focus takes a look at helping you ace your finals.
And Sports Talk keeps us updated with everything Lute Sports.
All that and more next on News at 9.
Although Washington State legalized the use of marijuana to those over the age of 21, Pacific Lutheran University still doesn't allow students to smoke on campus. Students in Communications 215 decided to find out how the PLU community feels about the policy.
Washington State has recently legalized marijuana. However, at PLU, campus safety policy states that marijuana use is prohibited on PLU campus. In South Hall, most students are over the age of 21. According to state law, they are allowed to use marijuana, but according to PLU's policy, these students are at risk of academic suspension, even if used off campus. Some students agree.
I think it's perfectly fine, especially for the students receiving financial aid. Financial aid is federal funding. So, I mean, if it's federally illegal, I mean, they should have the right to dictate whether we can smoke or not.
It's kind of a gray area, and I think the fact that the federal government doesn't support it necessarily at this point, it's only 2 states, I can see that they don't want to do anything that would seem, out of the ordinary, especially being a Lutheran school. It might go against, some of the church's values, funding.
That's kind of a sticky situation. Your students are technically, you are adults, but once again, if it impairs how you behave or act on campus, it's just something that should be taken with a grain of salt or considered.
While other students disagree.
I think it's okay to have some policies on campus, but that you actually have policies that's outside of campus and that says you can't do this because you're a student. I think that's not fair at all, and I don't think PLU should have that power over people to decide what they do when they don't go to school.
In terms of law perspective, I think it should be allowed because alcohol does the same damage to the human body as marijuana.
As far as off-campus goes, I feel like you should be able to do what you think is right or what makes you happy. On campus, I can understand that they've got a reputation and their rules to enforce, but off-campus, I feel it's fair game. That's the law's land, not PLU.
Regardless of opinions, it is clear that this is a complex issue. For more information, you can contact campus safety at plu.edu.
The hot weather and near end of the school year means one thing. It's almost time for LollaPLUza. We talked to ASPLU and other PLU community members about what we can expect at this year's festival.
LollaPLUza is May 10th, so 2 Saturdays from now. It's 1 to 5, and it's just on Garfield between Park and C Street. And we close down the whole street and set everything up, so hopefully it'll be fun. This year we're really trying to make it more of like a street festival and like a spring bash. So we're trying to get a lot more different music this year, also more activities for students to do during the day. We're selling tank tops this year, the week leading up to Lolla, and we have a tie-dye station and hopefully some more inflatables. There's going to be Habitat for Humanity setting up giant Jenga, so we're trying to get a lot more activities going on throughout the day, so it's not just like come and listen to the band that you wanted and then you're done for the day. The headliner this year is Parade of Lights, and we are super excited to have them come to campus. They're kind of like dance, fun, like electro. I'm not entirely sure how to explain them, but we're really excited because they were way out of our budget, like just thousands and thousands of dollars out of our budget, and we kind of told them about Lolla and filled them in on who we've had in the past, and they've wanted to come up to this area for a while, so they took just like a bunch of money off of their the quote to be able to come here, so we're super excited to get them.
So my job is kind of more focused on the day of, so I booked rooms for the bands to come. So before a band plays, they stay in a green room, which is basically like a classroom when you come to PLU. And then we have a lot of really great student bands that are going to be playing. One of my favorite student bands is Shockatones, and they're just really good. They have like synth and drums, and it's really groovy. It'll be great.
I'm David Gordon, and I'm in charge of student bands for LollaPLUza. There's going to be an interesting array of bands this year. We've got like jazz, funk, fusion kind of band. Some classic. It wouldn't be PLU if we didn't have some singer-songwriter with a guitar kind of music. Some like soul electronic. I'm not even sure how to describe them. And we actually have a student DJ as one of our performers this year. So got all kinds of music.
Hi, my name is Campbell and I am DJ Tatelis. I'm a DJ and producer, so I make my own songs and mix them in with other songs during live performances and get the crowd riled up, be excited, and overall just have a great time and show people the music I love. I'll be one of the student performers this year at LollaPLUza. I'm really excited about this. I went last year, it was a great experience, and it's going to be fantastic to be up on the stage as one of the performers.
It's just going to be a fun time. You get to hear our amazingly talented PLU students. You get to hear some amazingly talented people who don't go to school here. Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
LollaPLUza will be held Saturday, May 10th from 1 to 5 p.m. on Garfield Street.
If you think it can't get any easier to order a pizza, think again. Hulu is about to serve up a new Pizza Hut advertisement that will allow viewers to order up a pie inside the ad. The streaming video service will debut the new ad later this year. The feature combines Pizza Hut's online ordering system with Hulu's interactive advertising system. It's the kind of technology that might become a whole lot more common in the future. That's because more companies are taking advantage of the emerging interactive ad capabilities.
Subway is leading the fast food industry in underpaying workers. That's according to a CNN Money analysis of data collected by the Department of Labor's Wage and Hour Division. Individual Subway franchisees have been found in violation of pay and hour rules in more than 1,100 investigations from 2000 to 2013. Combined, these cases found about 17,000 Fair Labor Standard Act violations, and they resulted in franchisees having to reimburse Subway workers more than $3.8 million over the years. Subway has more than 26,000 locations throughout the country. That's the most of any fast food chain. Subway declined to comment on the analysis.
Microsoft will soon be getting into the TV game. Recently, Microsoft announced Xbox Originals, a slate of original TV series. The dozen original television series from documentaries to sci-fi epics will be available exclusively on Xbox gaming consoles and other Microsoft devices. Leading the charge are Steven Spielberg and Ridley Scott, who are involved in two separate series based on the massively popular Halo video game franchise. Others in the lineup, which will begin rolling out in June, include a sci-fi drama, Humans, and a documentary series called Signal to Noise. Netflix led the charge for creating original content 2 years ago and has Emmy Awards to show for it. Last year, Amazon began producing original content for its Prime streaming service.
Much like Xbox, Yahoo announced recently that they are developing original content as well. The company has announced it is creating two original comedies. One is a sci-fi adventure called Other Space, set in the early 22nd century. The other is called Sin City Saints, about a fictional pro basketball expansion team. Both will be 30-minute long shows with 8 episodes each. Just like Netflix, Yahoo will release all episodes of the series at once. The new shows will launch next year.
If you weren't already counting down the days till summer, you may start now. Monday, Beyonce and JayZ announced plans for a summer tour together. The superstar couple's On the Run tour kicks off in June. It includes stops in 16 North American cities. JayZ and Beyonce are also using the tour as a way to give back. $1 from each ticket sold will go to the Sean Carter Foundation, an organization that helps students from underserved groups go to college. Tickets go on sale to the general public May 2nd.
Stay tuned. We'll be back after this commercial break.
Next is PLU in Focus with Leah Traxel. This is unfortunately our last episode of the school year, so we hope to see you again next year, Lutes.
So here's the deal. I can show you a bunch of footage of third world countries with starving children and roofless shacks. But you've seen that all before. I can play on your emotions and explain to you why you have it so good and you owe it to the world to go out there and help others. But you already know that. The truth is, this is nothing new to you, but the world is still waiting for people like you. So what are you waiting for? Peace Corps. Life is calling. How far will you go?
Welcome back to News at 9. I'm Leah Traxel with PLU in Focus. As we near the end of the semester, the nice weather signifies that finals week is nearly upon us. While students stock up on snacks and caffeine, we talked to a couple PLU professors to see what it's like to prepare for finals on the other side of the classroom.
Try to make the tests applications of concepts that we've learned and practiced in class. So I will present case scenarios, and then I will ask them questions about those case scenarios where they have to use maybe certain interviewing skills, and they'll write out what that would look like.
I've moved towards is doing open book and open notes in all of my quizzes, exams, everything. With the idea, I want the people to test in the environment they're going to work. And that gets me away from asking rote memorization questions. What's the definition of this and stuff like that, and asking more practical day-to-day, how do you do this, how do you do this, show me how you do that. And since a lot of people have exam panic, then you put a piece of paper in front of them with an exam on it, and all of a sudden their poor little cerebrums freeze and just go, they forget everything. It's happened to everybody, and so I want to avoid that.
For me, the bottom line in social work, I'm not trying to trip people up or make exams, confusing or difficult, but I want to make sure that they are prepared and they know stuff so that when they go out into the field, into their internship in the fall, they will be prepared.
I find that each time I come back to it, I'm in a different mood. And if I'm not careful, that different mood will really affect the way I grade the problem. So one of the things I do in particular is on an exam, I'll make sure that I grade all of a particular question in one session. So that hopefully at least that question is graded consistently. So I, if you will, kind of wing it. I think about where is this class going? I look at the objectives for the class. What do I want the students to know? And what do they really need to be able to do before they take the next class? And I try and factor all of that in to what they wrote on this exam.
Just reading through and getting a sense of it. So once I get down to the, basics of grading, it probably takes, I'd say 20 to 30 minutes per test. I can't sit down and sort of focus for that many hours. So it might be in, 2 or 3 or even 4 chunks, depending on the test and how long it takes me. I have to drink a lot of tea to stay focused and keep reading.
While Professors Hauser and Keller put their tests together, their students will be prepping in their own ways. We asked a few students about their studying strategies during this particularly stressful time of the year.
So studying for finals for me kind of consists of locking myself in the library, honestly, for a couple days and cramming. And then I also kind of try and diversify the places that I study. So I go to Morgan to kind of get some space from people and get some more natural light. Other than that, I just study on my own a lot.
My style of studying for finals is complete and utter isolation from other people and pretty much becoming a cave woman in my room for weeks at a time.
I'm not the quickest learner, so I definitely start at least a week in advance when studying for tests. I'll go online, watch videos, do practice problems, look at my textbooks. An array of things.
I used to cram study like hours before an exam, and that's absolutely not effective.
I'm definitely a procrastination type, so kind of cramming at the last minute is my style.
It's definitely a learning curve with these weed out classes that I've been taking. You kind of have to learn and discover the different strategies that work for that class on the fly. You'll definitely bomb a test, but you'll learn from that.
Some students may favor the all-night study sessions or cramming the day of an exam, but study after study shows that this is not the best strategy. We've compiled some tips to help you take full advantage of your study time. First, it's important to build breaks into your study time. This will keep you from getting distracted too easily and help you focus when you're studying. Next, even if you don't have a study guide yet, start reviewing early. The more times you go over the material, the more likely you are to absorb it. And while junk food and espresso seem like the more desirable options, eat healthy snacks while studying. The nutrients will keep your mind sharp and help you keep you energized. And finally, forgo the all-nighter for some sleep. You're more likely to remember the material you've studied when your brain is fully rested. Remember that during Dead Week and Finals Week, the library will be open for 24 hours a day. Good luck on your finals, everybody. We'll be back after this commercial break with Sports Talk with Sam Horn and Giancarlo Santoro.
This new phone is awesome. It has made my life so much easier. You know, I get kind of bored when I'm driving and I need to know what's going on. So now, with this huge screen, a keyboard, and a ton of apps, I can get a text and write back right away, no problem. It's like I barely even have to look at it.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Welcome back to News at 9. You're watching Sports Talk. I'm Sam Horn, and I'm joined by Giancarlo Santoro for our last show of the school year. Today, we'll be recapping the entire year of PLU sports.
At the end of the show, we'll take a look at the world's biggest sporting event, the 2014 World Cup.
This past fall, the Lute football team finished in second place behind Linfield. PLU went on to lose in the first round of the playoffs to the Wildcats, 42-21. The men's soccer team finished in third place this past fall. G-Boy received first team honors after scoring 7 goals and tallying 6 assists.
In 2013, the women's team finished in third place with 11 wins, 4 draws, and 5 losses. The women's team, led by Seth Spidal, hadn't won 11 games since 2006. Despite winning 15 games in conference play compared to just 1 loss, the volleyball team lost in the first round of the playoffs.
First-year Matt Ware led the men's swim team this year as he broke 3 records in 2014. Ware broke the 200 butterfly, 200 individual medley, and the 400 individual medley records. This kid is a straight-up fish! He should be swimming with the dolphins. The women's swim team also enjoyed a successful year in which they won the Northwest Conference crown. Junior Keena Ackerman led the way for the Lutes as she broke 2 records this year in the 200 and 400 IM events.
The women's basketball team, on the other hand, struggled. First-year head coach Jennifer Childress couldn't guide the Lutes to the playoffs, and the team finished 7th in Northwest Conference. The men's basketball team also rode the struggle bus all season long. Like the women's team, the men finished in 7th place. The baseball team is currently vying for a playoff spot as they are in 2nd place behind last year's national champion Linfield. Juniors Chris Bishop, Trevor Lubking, and AJ Komposky lead a star-studded pitching staff going into the playoffs. 2 years after winning the national title, the softball team won't be going to the playoffs this year after finishing in 6th place. However, 5 Lutes earned all conference awards.
The men's tennis team finished in 6th place this season. Their hopes of making the playoffs are non-existent, but first-year Sam Stetter earned second team all-conference awards. Boasting an 11-7 record, the women's tennis team won't be going to the playoffs, but they did finish in 4th place in Northwest Conference play.
There are officially less than 50 days until billions tune in to the 2014 World Cup in Brazil this June, and we'll take a look at what you can expect to see at the world's greatest sporting event. The 32-team tournament is held every 4 years, and it is considered soccer's most sought-after trophy. Unfortunately for the U.S. team, they were drawn into what is being called the Group of Death with European powerhouses Germany and Portugal and African up-and-comers Ghana. Sam, what do you think Do you think the U.S. has the potential to make it out of this incredibly tough group?
Gee, I have one word, and that word is no. Because they're in a very tough group with three very good teams. And so the first team, Portugal, they have an offensive weapon in Cristiano Ronaldo, and they can also back up his offensive play with a good defense with Pepe and Fabio Contrao. And then also Germany, besides Portugal, is probably the most balanced team in the world. They have stars both on offense and defense, and they're led by Miroslav Klose, who has 131 caps and is the second leading goal scorer in the world history. And then Ghana, they're, like you said, they are an up-and-coming team, so they do pose a serious threat to the U.S. as they did win against them in the round of 16 in 2010 and 2006. So what do you think, G?
You know, Sam, I'm going to have to agree with you. I really don't think the U.S. team really has enough talent to get through the group, but I do think they actually have a chance to pull off a couple upsets. Because they play Ghana in the first game, I think that is really their best chance to get a win. Ghana is it's an inexperienced team, it's a young team, and so that'll be the U.S.'s best chance of getting a win. Moving on to Portugal, although they do have Ronaldo, who was the world's best player of the year in 2013, they don't really have the best defense, and so if the U.S. forwards can be on top of their game, they might be able to get a goal or two. And obviously moving on to the last game with Germany, they are a favorite to win the whole thing, but with the current form of Captain Clint Dempsey, they could get a draw and make a surprise move through the group. But now for the teams who can win it, who do you think has the best chance, Sam?
So I think, from what I've seen so far, I think Germany has the best chance to win it all, mainly because 4 of their players have more than 100 caps on the team, meaning that they have so much experience playing on the international level. And their midfield is probably the best in the entire world, bar none, with 4 players in Bastian Schweinsteiger, I just love that name, Lucas Podolski, Mesut Ozil, and Mario Götze. And so these 4 players have combined to score 93 international goals. So that in itself is pretty impressive. Also, Germany got 3rd place in the 2010 World Cup. So 4 years later, they can just add that, and they have all this new experience now. And they can also win their 4th World Cup, which will be the 3rd most in the history of the world. So what do you think, G?
Well, you see, I already have my Brazil jersey on, so for me it's really all about the Samba Boys of Brazil. And I say there's 4 main reasons. So they're the host nation, so it means they'll be playing in front of millions of soccer-crazed Brazilians who love nothing more than to cheer their team on. They have a 22-year-old phenom named Neymar, who has 30 goals in 46 games for his country, which is very impressive. They have something to prove, I think, at home. They've won the World Cup 5 times, which is the most in history, but they haven't won since 2002, so they have the pressure to try and win at home. And lastly, they demolished Italy 4-2 and Spain 3-0 in the 2013 Confederations Cup, which is basically the warm-up to the World Cup, so they're looking like really the team to beat right now.
But gee, have you thought just for a bit that Brazil might be under too much pressure playing in front of their home crowd? Because in 2010, South Africa, who hosted the World Cup, lost in the group stage.
That is true, and pressure has the ability to hurt a team, but I think the Brazilians will have enough experience to actually turn it into a positive and really help them out. I know you think Germany is the favorite, but they arguably has the toughest group. They have to play Portugal, like we said earlier, they have to play U.S., they have to play Ghana. So all these teams are really capable of winning a game against them. So that's really what the World Cup's all about.
Very true. Well, no matter the outcome, it will be an unforgettable World Cup. I think that is all the time we have for this evening. Thank you very much for watching our last show of the school year. Check us out anytime at massmedia.plu.edu. Have a great summer, and we'll see you again next fall. For all the News at 9 staff, I'm Sam Horn. He's G-Boy. Good night.